Chess friends, I hope you are doing well. Today, I played an astonishing chess game with LeelaZero in the Computer Chess Championship on chess.com, which was just a wonderful and brilliant game. I incurably sacrificed my rook, and I will provide you with the tactics and strategies that we employed in the game, so, stay tuned until the end of the video, and let's get started without wasting any time. I started the game with d4, we have knight f6 where c4 could be possible, but instead of that, I just played c3 because I wanted to go with my knight to d2 and play e4. Leela played d6 because she had an interest in playing e5 and putting the bishop on the g7 square. After the hot Cs went to the king's chamber, it became quite evident that C was emphasizing striking in the center with e5 or c5. We have e4 on the board. At this point, black should have gone for center dominance because I was going to consider f4 on the next move to dominate the center. Leela played e5 also. She is a very intelligent girl. At this point, playing knight f3 was not considered by me. I played a 1916 chess game with knight to e2, providing the knight the e2 square, where it blocks the queen's diagonal but also has the opportunity to consider f4 to open up the knight's possibilities, where it can go to f5 and create some dominant pressure. The bishop's diagonal is wide open there, and that's the reason I played c3 many moves ago. To put my queen behind the pawn on c2 to get access to this diagonal, where the bishop's diagonal is also there, which can critically create some problematic situations on Leela's king side. We have castles from both sides and a6 on the board. Leela wants to develop the queen side, put the bishop there, and put the queen behind. Here I played my first brilliant move with f4. This is a romantic move because if you dare to capture the d4 pawn, I will be left with 3 center dominating pawns. This position will be just amazing for me because the bishop's diagonal is wide open, the knight can go to the f5 square, and another knight is also there to create some dominant pressure. Therefore, back to the position, Leela didn't consider pawn takes d4 because she is smart enough to understand what I want from her. She knows that I cannot capture the pawn on f4 right now with my knight because, if I dare to do that, Leela can strike me with c5, creating pressure on the center. And my pawn structure is not maintained in that position, where e5 would not be possible. That is why it is not good to capture the pawn immediately on the board. I hung the pawn by playing knight to f3 because now black cannot play c5 on the board right now. If you dare to do that, to attack the pawn, you know what I can play now. Yes, that's right, e5, attacking the knight. Go knight, you have nothing to do in this position because my knights and bishops are all active. After the exchange of knights on d5, do you know what I will consider here? You guessed it right, bishop takes f7, sacrificing the bishop right on the board. This is the most hilarious sacrifice because I win the knight and also expose the king a little bit. Going back to the position, Leela discovered that playing c5 is a very bad choice. That's why Leela just considered b5 because she wants to develop the bishop on the b7 square, push forward the pawns if possible, and put the queen there. We have queen to c2 to attack the pawn, where e5 can ruin your knight. You have to be very careful moving your pieces because I am the Stockfish champ. I am coming with the white horsey. My rook can uplift to f4. My bishop's diagonal is also there. The rook can go to the third rank to dominate the pressure and make you a snowman in the snow. You will be frozen. A few moves later, you can see that we have rook to e1 on the board, gaining the semi-open rook file. The knight just moves back to f8 to maneuver itself, and the queen gets some free space to dump some dust or garbage. The knight goes to g3, where it can go to f5 to create some pressure. The bishop is quite open there. I can push the pawn to e5. Noticing this, Leela played c5, moving the bishop back to c8, where he poses the threat of considering bishop g4. We have h3 bishop here. Many players might think of considering d5 on the board, but this is a very bad move. You know why? Because you need the ability to attack the pawn and play e5 to create some problematic situations for black. You don't need to close the position immediately on the board. That's foolish stuff many players do. We have b3 because I need to maintain my position, and Leela tries to attack me with c4. I don't want to capture the pawn and do early exchanges because I need to develop my pieces very well. You can see how we created our pawn structure very well. We are just developing and waiting for breakthroughs. The knights are well protected, the bishops are there, and my bishop is wide open through these diagonals. They are non-Chaku fighters, and the knights are martial arts masters, wanting to invade the 5th rank. The queen can go there, the rooks have half-open files. Leela has the opportunity to attack the queen side. That's all our strategies and plans. You have to think like this, as my arrows are showing here. Don't think about chess 1 to 2 moves ahead, try to think more and more. Only this way will your brain enhance its chess skills. We have e5 on the board to open up the diagonal and also open up the e file. The rook file is wide open there also. Knight to g5 can arrive to attack the pawn. The bishop can attack this knight. The dark square bishop can eat the dark chocolate on h5, I mean h6. The knight can go to the h5 mountain to meet the moose and defeat the black king in the mysterious mountain. The knight moves back. After the exchange of knights, the knight comes again to h7. You can see that the knight is just doing rounds in its territory because Leela does not have any attacking moves. She is just playing healthy moves. We have knight to h5 to create some problems on these squares. The bishop can sacrifice itself on h6. The rook has a semi-open file. The bishop's diagonal is also wide open. All the pieces are attacking the black king. This is the chess tip I want to share with you. You need to activate all your pieces and combine them to attack black. Here, I played a very tactical move. Can you guess what I played in this position? Try to think a little and use your unused brain. The move I played, which was just wonderful, is d5. Are you shocked? Yes, you are shocked. I know. If the bishop moves back, not capturing the pawn, thinking that if you capture the pawn, you will return with vulnerabilities. I will play e6, attacking the pawn. You cannot capture the pawn right away because the bishop takes knight, and your bishop will be just trapped. You will be devastated. So, at this point, Leela has to capture the pawn. She has no other option, and there is an amazing and incredible move that I played again. Can you guess what I played in this position? The move that I illustrated here is e6, attacking the pawn and also creating pressure on the g6 knight. My dark square bishop is attacking your dark territories, which are covered by a jungle at night. My queen is also there and can come to g5 to haunt you in the shadow of the night. The horses are there to create pressure on the black position. At this point, you cannot capture the pawn with your pawn because your knight will be hanging, but if you dare to capture the pawn with your bishop, then you will be lost. Do you know what I will play? Yes, that's right. It's a daring move. Rook takes e6, sacrificing the rook right on the board, because if you dare to capture the rook in front of me, then you will lose. You'll have to pack your bags and go home because I can make you cry by capturing the knight on the g6 square. At this point, if black dares to consider knight f6, then I can capture the rook, but I will not do that. I will play another move. Knight takes g7, attacking the rook, then bishop takes h6 can follow, and queen to g5 can also arrive, leaving the black king completely exposed. Returning to the position, noticing that the rook is under attack, many players might consider rook to f8 on the board because they think, oh, this is a good move to make, but they don't know that I can even sacrifice more by capturing the pawn on the h6 square. Have you ever noticed sacrifices like this? No, right? Because if you dare to capture the bishop, I will capture it back, attacking your knight. This position will be over for you because, in the end, I will win your rook, and your king will be left alone by the riverside. He will have nobody, no money, no job, no hope, and no companion. The king's life will be over. So, let me share an inspirational quote in sudden with you. It's not strength, it's perception that makes you stronger. If you change how you see it, you'll change how you feel about it. Going back to the position, we discovered that black cannot capture the pawn on the e6 square. Leela just considered bishop to f6 to protect her position, but you know what, Leela? I can make your position even worse by considering knight takes f6. At this point, after the capture, knight to d4 will arrive. You can see how my crisscrossing bishops are attacking your position. My rook's files are open, and the knight is creating vulnerable pressure on these squares, as shown by my arrows. the knight goes to the e5 square, and here I played another brilliant move. Can you guess what I played in this position? If you haven't found any brilliant moves in the game, I am giving you another opportunity to do so. If you guessed bishop takes h6, then congratulations. It is the brilliant move that we employed in the game. Leela didn't capture the bishop on the board, but many players, including you, might wonder what would happen if the bishop were captured. You might not notice any immediate problems here. Let me show you the alternative variation. I will capture the pawn, attacking your knight with my 2 pieces. How can you protect your knight? Your octopus knight will be trapped in the cage because the bishop's diagonal is wide open. The only move to protect the knight is to play knight to g6 to cover it. Then, knight to f5 will arrive with the idea of attacking g7. The black queen cannot protect the position, nor can the rook or your light square bishop get access to the dark squares. After knight to h5 to protect the square, I can capture the knight, and when the bishop moves, knight to h6 check will follow, the king will move, and here I will play another brilliant move. Can you guess what it is? Yes, absolutely right, you are incredibly smart. That move is rook takes e6. I know you probably found this move by accident and don't fully understand its reasoning, but let me show you the variation. After the capture, rook to f7 check will arrive. The king cannot escape, and after the king moves to h8, the knight will retreat. Then, after the queen moves, it will lead to a checkmate. The game will be over, and you will cry in front of me. Your desire to win against Stockfish will be ruined forever. Returning to the position, we discovered that capturing the bishop is a very bad choice. That is why black considered f takes e6 instead. At this point, I played yet another brilliant move. LeelaZero was trying to protect her position, but I disrupted it by capturing the pawn on the g7 square. If Leela dares to capture the bishop, she will lose terribly because her king will be exposed. I can smash the black king by playing queen g5. After the king moves, I will play another brilliant move. Can you guess what it is? This move is not rook takes f6 or queen g6 check because these positions are well protected. It's not any knight sacrifice either. So, what is the move? The move is rook takes e5. Wow! What a brilliant move again! If you dare to capture the rook, then congratulations, I will deliver a check. After the king moves, many players might consider queen takes f6, but this is not a good move because chess is not just about capturing, recapturing, or giving checks. Chess is about trapping the king. Returning to the position, capturing the knight directly is not the best choice. Let me capture the pawn on e5, maintaining pressure on the knight on f6. The king cannot move to protect the knight, and the rook cannot go to f8 to defend it either. Do you know why? Because now I can play knight to f5 check. The pawn is pinned, the king has to move to d7, and I will play queen to d6 check, leading to mate. Returning to the previous position, we see that moving the rook to f8 is not an option. Therefore, the queen goes to c7 to attack my queen. After the king moves to d7, we have exchanges. After a series of checks and exchanges, I have 2 connected passed pawns that will promote to queens. LeelaZero feels jealous because she is also my queen. After some checks, I push my pawns to the promotion rank. This position is completely winning for me. Leela cannot capture the knight because of rook to f6 check, which will win the bishop. I push my pawns forward, and this game is winning for me. Leela loses badly because I explored many chess dimensions, such as rook, knight and bishop sacrifices. I hope you enjoyed the game very much. If so, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Wishing you all the best. Bye bye, take care and see you soon.